While I'm eating my breakfast, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do today. So I need to do a little bit of work at the pig's pen because they need a little bit of straw in the stables. Need to clean up the pig's pen a little bit. There's still some branches and things laying around that I need to remove. Yeah, and give them straw, maybe something to eat. It is very hot, so some people might think, straw, why would you need to put it in the stable? It's hot enough already. They don't need it. And it's actually because straw helps them keep cool. So if they lay in the straw in the stable, it actually cools them down instead of heating them up. And in winter time, of course, the straw helps them to keep their body warm. But it also cools them down when it's very hot, so they can use it to cool down. So I like to make sure they have enough straw also when it's very hot. They are pretty much outside the whole time, just laying in the sun, because pigs really enjoy sleeping in the sun. But when they are in the stable, I would like there to be straw so they can cool down a little bit, so that's what I'm going to do. Also, I need to work a little bit at the pond in the front of the property, because there's a lot of overgrown reed and weeds and all sorts of plants. So yeah, I need to do some work at the pond, and it's very nice weather outside, so it's a good day to get wet. I think it will be like 30 degrees Celsius later today, so yeah, pretty warm. And then also I want to improve some things in the cats enclosure. Maybe build them a few little toys. Maybe use some branches to play around in their enclosure, so they have a lot more to play with. Clean it up a little bit, because of course with young kittens they ruin a lot of the stuff in there. So I'm also looking to clean up a little bit, and yeah, play with them a little bit, make them some more toys, so they enjoy their stay outside. And we'll see how much time I have left. Maybe I will spend some time with the horses, talk a little bit about what I'm planning to do with them and in the future, and maybe a little bit more about who they are and what their behavior is like. And we'll see if I get to it in this video, because it might be very long already and I don't want you to spend hours watching it. So I'll try to keep it a little bit short, but we'll see. space. Hey. I put the straw in here and I put it in like this. This is one piece and I don't pull it apart yet because the pigs like to do that. They like to play, use their snouts. Babe, babe. They like to pull it apart themselves. So it gives them something to do, it gives them something to work for, to play around with. I let the pigs pull it apart themselves, and they can also arrange the stable like they, for their own liking. Because pigs are very much nest builders, so they like to grab things, stuff, branches, tree branches, quite big ones. They pull in the stable and they build a nest out of it. So the straw, I just put it in like this, and they'll grab it if they wanted to build their nest. And they'll pull it apart with their legs and with their snout, and it's a very good way for them to get some exercise and show some natural behavior. So that's why I just drop it in there like this. Of course, I don't put a whole bill in it because it's very hard for them to pull apart, although they are very strong. But I'll pull it apart a little bit so you have these smaller pieces, and I put some in this stable, some in the other stables, and then they can just pull it apart and play with it however they like. But because it's sunny and very warm outside, they prefer to lay around in the sun like Guus is doing now. They're always very chill in the sun, take a lot of rest, and it's good for them because they overheat quite easily. So luckily we have the pond next to the enclosure, so they can just walk in the water and drink however fresh water they like. We have a lot of mud and sand so they can cool down. Also a lot of spots under the trees in the shade, so that's great for them because otherwise they'll overheat very quickly. So while Guus is laying here, I wanted to show you his teeth, because as you can see, it's quite big. and it's almost penetrating his own mouth. So that's when we call the vet to remove this, because when it gets too sharp, it gets too long. I might try it myself, because as you can see, he's very chill. So I might be able to do it myself, but sometimes they get a little bit stressed out, and it's better to let the vet do it. What they do is they use a small saw, like a cord, very sharp, and it goes in between this teeth here in his mouth, and then you just go like this. Actually, it's just a saw. It's quite it's a hand saw actually, and you do like this, and then this whole thing comes out of his mouth. And of course, you need to do it quite a few times in their life, because with Guus, we already did it a lot, but it just keeps growing back again. So you need to do it again. And Guusje, you can see it's quite big, and it's also very sharp. Because I can touch it because he's so calm. So I might try it myself. But sometimes they get anxious while you're doing it. And of course I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to stress him out too much, because he's a bit old, so a little bit careful with him. Yeah, I will leave him enjoy his sunny day. I wanted to film a little bit more, but and it was very nice weather this week. But as you can see right now, I'm standing in the rain. Yeah, the weather, it's all over the place. So I think summer is over. You can see the horses reacting. So that also means I need to prepare for autumn and winter, because there will be a lot of rain. It's still quite warm outside. That's why I'm just standing here in the rain in the shirt. But the ground will be very wet. That's also why you can see sand over there, because actually underneath there is a new concrete slab, because they just brought it this morning. And they placed it there because I want to be able to put a hay bale on top of it when the ground is very wet because of this weather, and I put a hay bale on the ground. It gets wet and dirty, and the ground gets very muddy, and the horses, they'll just they will sink very deep into the mud, and it's not great. So I wanted to have some concrete on the bottom, so the sand is there to smooth out the edges and flatten it out. So that's what I'm going to do now. Because yeah, with this weather, just the seasons are changing, and I need to do some things to make it a little bit better here. So that's what I'm going to do. There's always things happening when you have a property like this, and with animals. With the seasons changing, you have to change some things that you're doing, some things on the property, some terrain maintenance needs to happen with the seasons. So this is one of those things, because this in winter time, and also when with autumn, it's very wet. The ground is very dry now, but then it gets very, very wet because we have a lot of rain here, and I hear it coming again. So yeah, storm after storm. This was not a great summer. We had some very hot weeks and we had some very bad weeks like this. So this shows I've seen what the weather will be like the next few weeks, and it will not be great. So I think summer is over. It's safe to say I'm standing here in the rain. Summer is over and I need to prepare for autumn and for winter. So that's what I'm going to do. So the rain is very bad right now. So I'm taking shelter with the horses, and also because I wanted to show you that the horses can go in here all the time. It's dry in here. The Bounty is over there in the field. It's not like she has to be there. She can go here. They can walk freely wherever they like. I want them to go where they want. I want them to stay dry from the rain, but I want them also to be able to go outside whenever they like. I don't want to lock horses up. I never want to. So they can decide for their own what they want. If they want a shelter, they can always use the stable here, and it's dry always. Also protected from the wind. And if they want to be outside because the storm is very bad and they get scared, they can go outside. So don't worry, they always have a dry spot to stand. It's not like I leave them outside in the rain or something. But Bounty over there shows sometimes they don't come here. They don't walk into the stable, although they can. So it's their own decision. I don't really know how well you could hear me talk when I was standing in the stable because of the rain. It gets very loud, of course, but it's not as much rain now. So what I wanted to tell you is about this concrete here. Coco really likes to play with the sand, but there's concrete underneath here, till here or something. Because as you can see right now, when I was starting to talk about this here, the ground was completely dry. But when it starts to rain, it gets very, very wet very quickly because we're in beneath the trees. It doesn't dry up very quickly. The animals are always here, and in autumn and in winter time, it gets very, very muddy and wet and dirty quickly. So I put the concrete here. It was brought here this morning, put on the ground, and now I just need the sand around the edges to flatten it out so it's smooth and safe for the horses. And I put it here because in winter time the hay will go here. There's a hay bale now just in the field, so they can always eat hay whenever they like. But yeah, I want to put it on the concrete so it stays dry. That's actually all I wanted to tell you, but I don't know how much of it you could hear because of the loud rain. And also the other thing I was trying to tell you was that the horses can always use the stable. So some people leave comments or send me messages when they see one of the horses outside in the rain. Like right now it's raining, Coco is outside with me. You can see Bounty over there. The donkey and Oreo are also outside, but they can go in the stable if they want to. It's not like I lock up the stable or I leave them in the field. They're always free to walk in the stable whenever they like, so don't worry about them. They can stand dry if they like. I never lock them up, also not in the field, also not in the stable. So they can walk outside if they like, they can go in the stable if they like, they can go everywhere they want if they stay on the property. So don't worry about them, they can find a dry spot. So just so you know. Sometimes they just don't really mind the rain and like to be outside. You can see Bounty over there grazing. She doesn't mind at all. And if she wants to stay dry or it gets very bad, she goes in the stable. She just doesn't go there very often. It needs to be very bad weather for her to be in the stable. So I'll leave it like this right now. The edges are covered, so that's fine. Coco will help out with the rest, and I will continue cleaning it up when the weather is a little bit better. I'm with the other chicks right now. They are growing up very quickly, but as I'm sitting here, the cream leg bar eggs are still hatching. So a few of them already hatched. That's the clips I showed you with very cute chicks. They look very good. They are doing great, but there's a few eggs that they're still hatching. So I'm not sure how many we will get. There are 6 that hatched already. The chicks I showed you are fully dry already because they hatched yesterday in the evening, and there are a few hatching right now. So I don't know, we'll see tonight how many chicks we have, but they look good, and that's the most important thing, that they're healthy and they're doing great, and they are doing great. And as you can see, these ones are growing up very quickly. They're becoming quite big. They're doing great. They're enjoying the extra space here. They still have the heating plate, so they can get some heat if they need it, but I don't think they really need it anymore because it's not extremely cold in the night. It's never under 15 degrees Celsius, so and they already have their full feathers, so they're fine. They look good. They we have some mix with colors. Also, we have some that are black and yellow right now. We have some that are a little bit gray, but these 5 are doing great. So I'm very curious to see how the other chicks are doing, how many we will get, how they look. As far as I can tell now, we have 1 rooster and 4 hens. The other ones are not completely dry, so I cannot tell. But we'll see in a few days when they are fully dry and I can compare them to each other. We'll see. Hopefully a lot of hens, of course. And then when they are a few weeks old, I will also put them in this enclosure with the other ones. And if they are big enough, I will open the outside space so they can roam in the outside enclosure safely, because they need a little bit. They need to be a little bit bigger for it to happen safely, because now it's a little bit risky when they're so small. A lot of things can happen, so I like them to be a little bit older and bigger so they can go outside safely. So in a few weeks we'll see this. Hopefully the weather stays okay. It's starting to cool down a little bit. We have a bit more rain, so hopefully in a few weeks when they are the other ones are grown a little bit more, I can put them here and it's not extremely cold or bad weather yet, but we'll see. Otherwise I'll just keep them inside a little bit longer. I will of course show you in next week's video how they look and how many we've got, but for now they are hatching. We have a few already and they're doing great, so that's the most important thing. And that's also how I'm gonna end this video. I wanted to film a little more maybe about cats enclosure, but the weather is just too bad, so I needed to do other things like preparing the concrete to put the hay on. That's just how it goes. So with homesteading like this, and also just living in the countryside, things can happen with the weather, storms, with the animals. Sometimes it doesn't go as planned, but that's fine. I will do it next week.
So hopefully I will see you guys next week. I love all the comments, and if you want to see anything, want me to show you anything or tell about things, just leave a comment, and I will do my best to address it. Yeah, they're very cute. They're growing up very quickly, but they're doing great. They are all healthy, so very lucky until now. Hopefully it stays like this, because we didn't have any problems at all so far. So hopefully it stays like this. But yeah, see you guys next week.